egg prices are up and Donald Trump's approval ratings are down. And to quote him, they're as low as anyone has ever seen. And as he goes through the federal government, agency by agency, his numbers plummet more and more and prices go up and up. Their next target is the Department of Defense, and he has appointed a Fox News anchor, an untreated alcoholic, to run the Department of Defense. And now he has been tasked with firing and purging military generals. Play the clip.
On leadership has shared a list with Republican members of Congress and senior military officials who could be fired. The sources reveal most of those military officials have been either closely associated with Biden's former Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, have worked on DEI initiatives, or have voiced opinions that were viewed as politically out of line with President.
So I want you to notice there, every time they do something, the blame always goes to DEI. That's how they provide a permission structure to their rabid, racist base, because their base would be like, oh no, support our troops. We're so pro-military. And they have to figure out a way to fire people who have devoted their entire lives and ascended up the ranks of the United States Armed Services. And how they can do that is to say, oh, they're just DEI hires or they're DEI pushers, because that's how racist the MAGA base is.
Oh, it absolutely is. And what, in the military, they take a pledge to support the Constitution, or an oath, I should say, to support the Constitution. And the military officers continue to be in power through all administrations because they're to the Constitution. This tells me so much about Trump and the people that work for him. They don't care about the military supporting the Constitution, supporting America. They want him to support Donald Trump. And Pete Hegseth is the perfect vehicle because A, he's incompetent, and B, he's, from what all we have gathered from his confirmation hearings, an alcoholic. Whether he is drinking or not, we don't know, but I'd be surprised, given history of alcoholics, if he is. Not to mention pettiness. These people are so petty because these men and women that have given their life to the military, they're professionals. And most people in politics appreciate their dedication. These people are just petty and gross.
So I think that this is something to watch because he has always wanted the military to be his own personal goon squad. And you may remember when there were protesters in front of the White House, he asked Esper if he could shoot them below the knees to clear them out so that he could go stand with the Bible at that yellow church across from the White House. And he was advised, no, you can't do that. So he's surrounding himself by yes men. And so what they're doing, they're scapegoating people of color, as white people have always done, put all the blame on, and they're going to get these sycophants much in the mold of Kash Patel, of Stephen Miller, Elon Musk, et cetera, et cetera. No morals, no decency. Next up, we have a MAGA congressman named Kevin Kiley who did a press conference with the Secretary of Transportation, who we have shared video footage of him running around with his panties, binge drinking. You can look that up. But here he is standing with the Secretary of Transportation talking about canceling infrastructure projects that were approved to be run in California, and just listen to the ambient noise in which these people have to speak in now. Things are changing.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Kiley. I represent California's 3rd District. California's high-speed rail disaster is the worst public infrastructure failure in U.S. history.
So they did the same thing with Secretary Duffy, and now they're doing it with him. They're going to find out, and that there is a resistance forming, there is a rebellion forming, and the shit that they're doing Nobody likes, unless you are a billionaire and you have your own bunker, they are basically annihilating all of the infrastructure, and I'm talking about physical infrastructure and the, metaphorical infrastructure of the United States of America. And when you follow stories in parallel, they're handing everything over to the Russians.
Absolutely, they are. And what's interesting about this is this guy looked so surprised to me. He was so shocked that anybody would boo him. And it's like, you're cutting jobs, you're stopping infrastructure projects, which bring people jobs, it fosters the economy. I mean, everything gets better when infrastructure is building. And they want to take it away because Joe Biden's name's on it. And we're still, if I'm not mistaken, we're still waiting on the infrastructure package from Trump's first administration, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think some of this too is just residual anxiety and outright anger at exactly where Trump has driven this country in 30 days. Yes, they're upset about infrastructure, but all of that is exacerbated by the onslaught of the daily shit show that we see that these imbeciles are doing with our country. Next up, a couple of days ago, we had the CPAC convention where we have shown you all footage of Elon Musk with his chainsaw, tripping balls on ketamine, wearing sunglasses. So embarrassing, but far more nefarious than what I just described is Steve Bannon. And here he does a Sig Heil. Please play the clip.
We're going to retreat. We're not going to surrender. We're not going to quit. Fight, fight, fight. Amen.
MAGA are Nazis. That's just all there is to it. The United States of America has a Nazi problem. The far right French politician was going to show up at CPAC, and he ended up canceling because of this Sig Heil. He canceled his appearance. And what we're seeing happening right now in Europe is these far right parties are in trouble now because America is showing the world what fascism looks like because Donald Trump has instituted it this first month. And it is terrifying and it is horrible. And you have Elon Musk doing Heil Hitlers. You have Steve Bannon doing Heil Hitlers. The president of the United States has never addressed it. Do you want to know why? Because they're welcome in his party.
I mean, look no further than Nick Fuentes and Kanye West. He had them for dinner.
Yep.
And what's interesting to me is the leader of the French right-wing party refused to speak at CPAC because of this kind of behavior. You know who's never denounced this Nazi salute? You know who's never said a word about it? Elon Musk, J.D. Vance. The people in power in the United States, Trump and Vance, they don't say anything about it because they agree with it. And it is sad and it is sick.
When you don't hear Fox News, you hear them saying, oh, it was this love gesture. You don't hear any MAGA people saying it. This is not a deal breaker for them. We knew, and Black people found out in 2016, and allies of the Black and brown community found out in 2016 that racism wasn't a deal breaker for a lot of Americans. Now we know that Nazism is not a deal breaker. And in fact, these things seem to be a prerequisite. Moving along, we now have a complete psychopath in charge of the FBI. His name is Kash Patel. And I just want to show you what a con man piece of shit this guy is. This was what he was doing. He had a little pill that he sold, and it's called the mRNA detox. Reverse the vax and get healthy with Warrior Essentials, which is bullshit. It's just powder in a plastic pill. It's a spike protein recovery system, and it says you were immune to the propaganda, but are you immune to the shedders? And this is the Warrior Essentials brand. So basically, all of these people that surround Trump trafficked in these bro podcasts. They're so on defense about their being masculine. They're not on offense. They're on defense, constantly trying to prove their masculinity. They grift the MAGA base who falls prey to this shit all the time. So you have Steve Bannon, who had the build the wall, completely grifted. Donald Trump, the biggest grifter on the planet. Kash Patel, FBI, he is supposed to be in charge of the agency that would sniff out that this was total fraud and charge these people.
Kash Patel will do nothing at the FBI to help Americans. He will go after enemies of Donald Trump. Kash Patel is one of those people. Donald Trump has very few people that stay in his inner circle for extended periods of time. And Kash Patel has always been there. So that tells me out of all the S kissers in Trump's inner circle, Kash Patel is number one. So it is going to be a shit show under Kash Patel because Bill Barr said he was not qualified to be FBI director. I mean, to work at the FBI when Trump wanted to employ him at the FBI during his first term. Bill Barr was profoundly incompetent. So for him to pick out Kash Patel and say no, that tells you all you need to know.
I completely agree. They are going agency by agency, dismantling the government, and they have all of these working class people believing that you have certain people that you can blame. You can blame the DEI crowd, which is code for Black people and or gay people and or women. And then they are raping and pillaging all of your taxpayer dollars because they're going to go to one specific place. Pull up this tweet from Chris Murphy. He's a senator out of Connecticut. So this is when they pulled an all-nighter trying to get the budget deal. He tweets, "It's 4 a.m. I'm still debating the Republicans' billionaire tax giveaway. We offered an amendment to say no tax cut for those making over 10 million. Every Republican voted no. So we tried 100 million. Every Republican voted no. So we tried 500 million. Every Republican voted no. Do you see what's going on? So I'm spelling this out for you guys. These tax breaks are paid for by you.
Right.
They are paid for by you. And the biggest adder of deficits has been, to this date, Republican presidencies in these tax breaks. This is why we have the deficit that we have. There are other points, but the overarching number one thing are always these Republican tax cuts, which then cause recessions, which then cause corporate welfare, where we have to bail out all of these corporations and so on and so on. And now they're even more cruel and even more emboldened, and they're going to come take your Medicare, your Medicaid, your Social Security, and remove all consumer protections, all the same while they've got a con man running the FBI. They have an untreated alcoholic that's about to rape and pillage through the military services, and a ketamine-infused Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, who appears by all accounts to be completely colluding with Vladimir Putin. And they make Trump picture books of stories where he looks nice and he has a high approval rating so they can limit his screen time because he is just the puppet. Now Trump is the puppet. This is a 911. The house is on fire. America has a Nazi problem. America has a corruption problem. America has a MAGA problem. And all of these MAGA voters, I don't know that they're ever going to wake up, but you have completely ruined our country.
I completely agree with you.
Okay, make sure you subscribe to our channel and we'll see you all later.